Hello everyone, welcome back to your weekly quantum teaching. This week we are going to be talking about the law of one. Now, I want to make sure that I mention that the law of one in this particular teaching is not necessarily related to the law of one from the teachings of Ra, who is known as one of the deities in ancient Egyptian culture and ancestry. This is separate from that in a sense. Well, ironically, not separate, okay, no pun intended, but we are speaking in terms of quantum theory and quantum mechanics here. So there will be overlap perhaps in those teachings, but I want to assure you all that what I am channeling here and what I am speaking about is strictly related to what we know about quantum theory and what has been proven by science essentially, and what is interconnected through spirituality. So what is the law of one? The law of one is essentially that we, each and every one of us, every single creature, everything that is of life is interconnected through thoughts, actions, you name it, not only through the collective consciousness, but also directly lined to the source creator, the one source. So it basically states that we all come from one source, okay, God, and that essentially we have been split into many different fractals across different realities, different dimensions, but essentially that we're all fractals of source. Now, something that I recently discussed in a live with the Laura Faye, you can find it on my other account, Door to Value, on Instagram exclusively, is about twin flame journeys. And we talked about that and how everyone is made in pairs. And so this was something that I learned as a kid as well. And so when we are created with that pair, right? So the red and the blue, we are created and those souls split. But we have to remember that every other aspect of source is split, meaning that we are not necessarily separated. We are coming from the same place, which is true, right? At the end of our life, we will experience death. Death is inevitable. I think we all understand this. Some people might have a fear around that, but death is inevitable. It's something we cannot escape. It is a part of this experience on earth that at some point in time, we will reach that point in which we die. And then we return to source. We return to, I'm hearing our Heavenly Father, okay, to God, to the universe of all creation. Some of us might have other assignments, some might reincarnate, some might serve on the other side. So there are many sort of rabbit holes that we can go down when it comes to that, and I'd be happy to talk about the afterlife in a channeled message rather than in this quantum teaching. But essentially the law of one states that we all come from the same source, and that our thoughts, okay, our thoughts and actions come together. So no matter where you are in the world, our thoughts and actions, your individual thoughts and actions is what connects you to the next person, to the next experience, to essentially the one source. And so I've definitely talked about this in previous perhaps channelings before, if not in other healing tools and tips here on School of the Ascending. But essentially, whenever you go to, let's say, the grocery store or a public place, the gym, and for the past few days and that present day, you've had certain thoughts, thinking about work, thinking about, your stresses, your worries, the past or the present or the future, okay? And if you happen to spark a conversation with a stranger, what you will learn is that that person has at least 3 things in common with you. No matter where you go in this world, in the external world, if you spark a conversation with someone and you start to talk to them and you start to get to know them, you will find at least 3 things. There will obviously be more than that, but you will find at least 3 things related between you and that person. It could be related to your past experiences, childhood experiences, your upbringing, your experiences with work, your experiences with money, your experiences with love, your experiences with X, Y, Z. It could be a number of infinite topics and experiences and perspectives. And maybe both of you might have differing perspectives from those experiences, but there is a trail, right? There is a track track record is what I'm hearing, connected to you and the people surrounding you, the strangers surrounding you in the external world. Science has proven this, that essentially you are here, but life is like a spider web. You are always interconnected to the next person who is interconnected to the next person. And so it becomes this sort of effect where everyone becomes connected in strange ways. And I actually found this to be true pretty much every time I spark a conversation with a stranger, but also every time that I've kind of evolved within each year, I start to see how people I knew 3, 4, 5, 7 years ago happens to connect with people that I met a year ago, and different friend groups meeting each other. And of course, it's all in the same city, and I'm in a big city, it's Chicago, but my point in saying all this is that people know people, and things connect. And the thing is like the world and the way that energy operates, the collective consciousness operates, is very congruent to this spiderweb imagery, where every point of a spiderweb interconnects one individual to the other. This is the law of one. It is proof that we are always connected. We are always connected. And when we go back to our little bubble, we go back into our homes, we're back into our own little experience. We get back into our present moment sometimes, and we forget that. We forget that we're all connected. Now, I must mention that quantum mechanics discusses this. It shares that we are all connected, and that has been proven through the similarities of energy, through the laws of physics, that people come across each other no matter whether they're living in South Africa to Canada, Venezuela to China, okay? People are connected across different places and spaces and time, and in different regions. And you could be in one location and someone could be in another location, and you could have a similarity. Every time that you go out into the external world, you're going to be around people who carry a similar energetic frequency, similar thoughts, a similar thought pattern, actions, lessons, experiences, perspectives, energy, okay? Different fractals of energy. And so this is essentially what the law of one means, that you are never A, truly alone, and B, a part of everything. And so in the spiritual journey, we invite that ideology of the law of one with the mirror effect, not to gaslight ourselves, to help us to essentially separate ourselves from the rest. We need to embrace our individuality and our uniqueness, but at the same time, and how we identify, obviously, because we were all born in different times and days, we were all born in different zodiac seasons, and so there's a importance to celebrate your uniqueness here, and to identify it, resonate with it, connect with it. It's okay to really embrace who you are and what resonates with you, and how you characterize yourself with your personality, with your astrology, with your mission, with your culture, your background, right? It's okay to accept those things, because this is what makes us individual and unique. We still have lessons to learn at the end of the day, but what the law of one reminds us is that on the earth we have been brought, and we can just as easily be taken away, because we will return back to the one source. We will return back to the maker. We will return back to where we came from. We are not of this world. We are spiritual beings. But again, I just want to emphasize this because I can kind of feel this just as a channeler and just with the gifts. I don't want you all to gaslight yourself, but recognize the uniqueness here. When things get tough and you are in a position or positioned in your journey to feel like a victim, or to feel sadness or anger, you are encouraged to feel those emotions. But keep in mind that, you might come across people with a similar energetic pattern to you. And so sometimes those people will mirror something to us. Everything is a mirror. Everything outside of us is a mirror for us. And you don't want to gaslight your emotions. Again, I keep bringing this up because it keeps coming through. It's very easy with the concept of the law of one, I should say, to feel like you are being gaslighted, or you should gaslight yourself, to feel as though, yes, I know I am part of all that is, and everything is a part of me, but I'm also living my unique experience in the present moment. You are allowed to embrace the way that your consciousness, the way that you are perceiving and living your experience, okay? You are allowed to feel this way. There is no right or wrong here. What the law of one invites is that if you are able to get to a point on your journey to really identify yourself and your experiences as one and the same, and see how everything is connected when things get difficult and challenging for you, that your strength shows you that you are supported, that you are connected to all that is, that everything outside of you serves you. And it's almost like the Law of One is an invitation to an abundance mindset, to a mindset that allows us to remember that there is plenty to go around, that we are always supported, and that at the end of the day, this is temporary. And so we must see the power of everything outside of us is here to teach us, to reflect something to us, to help us. And, when there are situations where people have been experiencing severe trauma or abuse, okay, because I'm just getting this example right now, like war, murders, trauma, sexual assault, rape, right? Those things, it's like, how can people in those situations justify the Law of One? And that's probably another channeled message that I can get to in another day, because there's a lot more to that comes with like soul experiences and lessons and agreements, and some people are not ready to hear that. But this is all to say that everything is still, by the virtue of science and what has been proven through the use of energetic and universal laws, that everything truly is reflective of what we're carrying about us inside. And we cannot plan unfortunate events or experiences. Some people are able to swallow the pill that unfortunate events, challenging experiences, traumatic experiences are strength building periods that at that time we didn't know about until after the fact, until after we've gone through the grief of what we've experienced. And so the Law of One is sort of a conglomerate, showing us that all things, all beings, all thoughts and actions, just like the Akashic record in a sense, are all part of the one God source, and essentially that we are co-creators of our experience, which is in a sense true. I would not go so far as to say we are full creators. I think some people would disagree with me on that, and that's up to your interpretation of your perception. There is obviously a higher experience at play here for our journeys, in which we must surrender and release and let go and not have attachments. But the Law of One invites us to recognize that we are co-creating our experience at the same time. And those of us who have reached this point in our journeys, this point in our consciousness, to understand that, to see the power in that, will not gaslight. You will not gaslight yourself at this point anymore. You will be at a point where you recognize the beauty and magic of your creation and still be okay with the humanness experience of your journey, because everything is a reflection to help you continue to evolve, to ascend, essentially. And so I know that for me, in my awakening journey, for the first 3 years, I was not really solid in this understanding, and I wasn't quite aware of it. I knew that everything came back to source, and I knew I was aware of that, but I didn't really see how everything was truly a mirror of me. Now, about 7 years past my first initial awakening, I see that effect, that truly everything is a part of us. And the farther along you go on this journey, the more sort of ascended you are, in a sense, which we will never reach that fully ascended point, but really the farther you are in your ascension journey, we'll say, because we're not going to put a limit on it, you will start to discover that you're in a different dimensional experience and consciousness. You love yourself more, you've worked on your healing, you've transcended some of your shadows and some of your triggers, and so you've reached this understanding that there's some synchronistic experiences outside of you that are reflective of those thoughts, of that spider web, right? Of that source God energy, of how we all return to the one. If you have any questions, please send me an email, door2value@gmail.com. I hope that this video resonated, added value, and was able to help you with some perspectives. I'll probably post another channeled message at some point related to this as it comes. I send you all so much love and light, and until next time, go and grow.